Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Honestly.
Fair.
What are you wearing?
On today's episode, we will be later on discussing arts and crafts fails. But before that, what are we doing today?
Well, today we initially planned to be painting some minis. We have some little rats here that you're gonna paint,
Yes.
and I have a little
A
toy
little-
dinosaur that I would like to turn into a monster for D&D, and also talking about different world building ideas, brainstorming for a future project that I would like to have in my own personal games, which we thought might be interesting to talk about on camera.
Yes.
So, shall we get started?
Yes, I think you should help me a bit because these shades of metal paint,
Ooh,
metallic
yes.
paint we have here are a bit similar.
We have this lovely collection of Army Painter war paints.
Not sponsored.
Unfortunately, no, I love these things. Honestly, they should sponsor us because these things are awesome and I love using them. This will be your first time using these, won't it?
I think. Yes, I think so. Yes. No, we painted some of those coins. Remember the little coin pile that you got?
Oh, yes. At some point, I got some little treasure trove coin miniatures. And yeah, you can use the gold on that one. But we have a decent selection of them. I mostly got the metal ones, the metallic ones, because I was like, yeah, I don't really need that many colors because I have my acrylics. Oh boy, was I wrong. Like, these are insane. The pigmentation on it, the intensity of the colors,
the
how good-
hyperpigmentation.
Is this hyperpigmentation?
I posed for 10 minutes. Let me see the final product.
And just the way they glide on the surfaces you apply them on, insane. I love them. Cannot wait for you to use them and give me your thoughts on them. Anyway, let's get into today's episode and start painting.
Honestly,
Fair.
Since they are rat people, I was thinking about using some rusty kind of colors because, I don't imagine rats walking around in shining silver armor. I see them more of in a coppery color with some silver accents, and
Fair.
them themselves, I think could be like a kind of like the brown. Are they like valley rats, valley mice? Like the
Rats in the valley and the rats in the walls. Very similar, but distant cousins.
No, because the ones in the walls I think are like more white or gray,
Mm.
and these are like wild mice.
All right.
These are mice actually, not rats.
They're little mice people.
They're little
They're
mice.
very
I don't know why
cute.
we were calling them rats. That's like so.
It's kind of
Wrong.
disrespectful.
It's kind of disrespectful to mice.
So, what is the base color for these, you think?
The base color for which part of them?
For the body of the rats, because you gotta start from like the innermost to the outermost usually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's easier
Oh,
to get
yeah.
into the details.
You're right. Okay, then let's start with that. But I wouldn't be using these, I guess, because
No, not the metallics, definitely. For their skin, for their fur, what would you like their fur to look like?
like this.
Like that. Maybe you could mix some barbarian flesh
Oh, we're using those
with
ones.
leather brown. Yeah, for the full minis. Yeah, I suggest you do. Of course, with a little strong tone.
Stronto? What is this for?
It's like a wash, like a dark wash, to get into those crevices and really.
But you put this at the end, right?
You put it after you've applied your first coat and you want to like get some depth into it, get some shadow.
And then you
apply that.
do the eyes and other stuff like that?
Yes, after that,
Mm-hmm. All right.
I
Very
suppose.
cool.
Or you could just put it like around these parts of the mice.
The wash or
The wash, I mean.
Yeah.
In these little corners, like around their faces, framing it a bit more with some shadows. I suggest you
Mhm.
start
Mixing
by
these
mixing
and
these, yes, and just applying it
the
on
little
their fur.
hands, yes, feet.
Yes.
Yeah. They have quite a lot of exposed body parts. These don't have the ball in them.
They do, you just have to really shake them.
Oh yeah, okay now.
Shaking montage. Start. No more.
Oh,
You have to do it more.
tired. More? Really? I thought you were joking. Okay, Maracas. Maracas montage. If you punch me, I swear to God.
As for my little dinosaur, I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to do to it. I
Perfect.
need this for an encounter that happens in a very dry place. But the thing is, he's already kind of painted for the desert. So maybe he should turn into something more monstrous. Because right now he's just a little dinosaur. Maybe he could be some sort of a magma monster situation with like charcoal skin and glowing lava somewhere running throughout his body. Like he's kind of developed a symbiosis with the environment around it, perhaps. Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to go for that.
Sounds interesting.
So for the first step, I guess I'm gonna paint it black. But I don't want to use the good paints because I don't have a lot of black left um, after building this monstrosity. I don't have enough black left to paint another monstrosity because I first coated this in black fully, and while it was a great choice, it did exactly what I wanted it to do. This cardboard soaked up so much black paint, it was absolutely insane. I could not believe my eyes, but it was just gliding on so smoothly, and I had to do it all like that. This acrylic is applying wonderfully on this. I'm really happy with it. I think it's really getting there. Like, that's very dark. Look at that.
You're gonna poke out my eye with the tail of it.
Well, I will try to aim correctly.
Alright, so the reason why I'm wearing this shirt.
Oh yeah, why are you wearing this shirt?
This shirt is a really good representation of like arts and crafts going a bit south. This was made by my mother, who I really appreciate her for it. She made it for me in like the fifth, sixth grade. And
it still fits you.
I mean, as much as it fits me, it's kind of like a body. Like this was supposed to be.
It's a bodysuit. It's a leotard. Michelle Visage would read you to death for that.
She would. Yeah. So this was originally supposed to be like a little sweatshirt. Is that what they call it?
I suppose.
Pullover. I think that's more of the British thing, or the European one. Like a sweatshirt type situation, with like kind of a t-shirt vibe. Now it's more of a tank top situation, very long shoulder parts.
Yeah.
It is a bit tight, but it's quite nicely made. Like the quality of it, like it hasn't gotten messed up in any way. But I remember when I first tried this on, I was a bit skeptical. But
I would be too.
But I begged her to make me something, to knit me something, and she did. And then I felt kind of bad for not liking it, so of course I took it to school. And people already had a habit of making fun of me at that time of my life, and it was not the time of my life. And for this they completely read me to feel fun of them. I remember saying like, "Who made you that? Your mom?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they're just like,
"Do you have a problem with it? My mom can make you one too."
At least my mom loves me. Is what I would have said if I wasn't such a wuss. That came like 2 years later when I entered my bully era.
The bully era, yes.
The bully era.
In your bully era, girl.
Is that why you said bull's eye?
Yeah, because you bully the bull. Bull bully. Bulbously.
The bull bully is the friend to, or the counterpart to hillbilly.
Oh yeah, the bull bully, the hillbilly, the rednecks, the red snakes.
That's Alacrity if Vanity wasn't an albino.
For the people who have no idea what he just said, Alacrity is one of his summons as a druid playing in our campaign, and Vanity is his player character, who is a druid and a tiefling.
And an albino, he's albino. Because he would have been a red tiefling originally, but now he's like a white tiefling, I suppose. Which is still debated online whether they exist or not. I looked it up when I was creating him a long time ago.
Well, at least it dried. Now it's going to give me a rash. Always love a good rash. That's a rash, not a herpes sore.
Okay, Zamalochikova.
No, I'm Katya Yurazamolochikova.
Oh, yeah, sorry, forgot.
We established this in last episode of, honestly,
Fair.
what I am guilty of is watching those same videos of like reposts of other creators, even though I know it's wrong, of like the POVs, but they're the repost accounts
with the soap cutting.
with the soap cutting and with the thing. The thing is, I love those creators to bits. Every single one of them. I follow them, and whenever one of their videos pops up, I do engage and interact and show my support. But when the reposts appear, it's of stuff I haven't seen because they're probably older stuff. I'm not gonna go look for them, and it's very engaging with the side thing. I don't know. If anybody else can relate to this, please let me know in the comments because everything is better, in my opinion, with a Subway Surfer under it or with a soap cutting video. It's just so much nicer. It gives me something else to look at if I need to take a visual break from what's happening in the actual video.
Oh, goodness. I will never understand how that works. Back to my mom's shirt. So, yeah. I never wore this again. I think it's the first time I'm wearing this in 10 years, which
Wow.
is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
The interesting thing that I realized is how we love to condescend to younger generations. I mostly thought teenagers, though.
Fair.
But they are very self-aware and internet knowledgeable, and like they knew a bunch of
Pop
course.
culture references.
Of course, they are the ones who also created, yes, but it's very clear that some of them were in certain fandoms and they find the stuff that they like, which I think is a great thing. And one of the many positives of the internet, although I'm a big like internet abolitionist. I want to abolish the internet sometimes.
Wow.
Yes, I sometimes do want to just, go back to a... Did you drop one of the mice? No.
I dropped another one of the brushes.
Oh, thanks God.
I cannot keep the brushes in my hand.
Yeah, so I think it's a good aspect because one thing that I struggled with as a kid is, for example, I was really interested in D&D, specifically from like the 6th grade, and I could engage with no one about this, and none of I didn't really have the opportunity to invite friends over to try it with them, and I didn't have the amount of internet access, or I didn't know how to use it well enough to like find a subreddit.
Yes.
I
didn't even know Reddit was a thing when I was young.
Yeah, me neither. But kids of today, like 15-year-olds, are so much more knowledgeable and they are much better at that than I was. And using the internet and technology is a skill.
It is.
And that's why I think one of my teachers was really adamant about not taking the phone out of school and like integrating it more. Because if you don't know how to use a phone nowadays, you're a bit doomed, I think.
Definitely. If you cannot use your phone, I'm sorry,
like
you'll end up
a
like grandma.
smartphone.
Yeah.
Like not just for calling
Of
stuff.
course. If you cannot work technology nowadays,
You are.
what are you doing with your time?
Yeah, because last year around this time, I really wanted to, I know that a bunch of people do this, so maybe someone in the comments can relate, to get a flip phone and to not have a smart device anymore. Because I wouldn't give up the phone completely because it's a bit dangerous as well.
Of course.
And it's good technology. I don't have an issue with it. But and the flip phone was always something I really wanted when I was in the ye old days of the 2000s. I really wanted one, and my sister had one. I was very jealous of her and everything. It's just very nice. They're very tactile as well. There's something very nice.
The shutting it. Yeah, it's really cool.
It's very interactive. It's very cool. And it has kind of a flavor to it that some modern technology kind of lacks, with everything becoming super minimalist and like... I wanted to get one. And the big issue that I ran into is that even just recently during this week, in one of my classes, the teacher said, okay, by the end of the class, you'll have to write a little note and you will have to send it on Teams to, I don't know what folder. You'll have to upload it with your name. And okay, I had my laptop with me, which was convenient, but I was using my phone's hotspot to access it. And most of my classmates use just their phones to like write it in their notes, copy it, and post it directly from their phones. So you can't even get proper class engagement if you don't have a smartphone. So they're like the new standard. And if you have a flip phone, you're basically
Estranged
a strange
from the
one,
world.
and you're at a disadvantage, which is very interesting.
Okay, while I'm waiting for the black paint on the dinosaur to dry, I've also gotten to painting these little guys. There were two mores.
tumors. Your
There were
tumors.
tumors on the, there were
I
two.
know they caused the plague, but you don't need to call them tumors.
Those were the rats. These are the mice.
You call them rats, honey.
I do. Because there were two more. He's doing 3. And I'm left with the other 2. Alright, so shall we talk about some world building now? I feel like we've yapped enough about other random stuff.
Yes, we should.
Alright, you had some things that you've been thinking of. And setting them aside, I believe. You have a whole
Yes.
little document about world building. Why don't you share some of your ideas with the class?
All right, this is a show and tell situation. So I was thinking about working name Bellaria, the Bellarian
Okay.
Empire.
Sounds like a disease. I like it.
Your name sounds like a disease, delirious.
Delirious.
If someone told me their name was Lirius, I would ask them in which bar they caught it. So I was thinking about this place called, which would be like a big continent, like a big Chungus continent, called the Bellarian Empire,
Okay.
which would be like a very war-ridden nation,
I like that.
having a very interesting system of governance.
Like what?
I'm gonna tell you. So basically, they have this like big Hunger Games type of contest, which lasts sometimes 100 years or more, depending. It's a giant war where the last man standing basically gains control of the entire continent for 100 years. And then when the 100 years are up, another war starts until one faction wins it. And there are all sorts of factions. There are religious factions which worship the Sun Marshal
Fair.
with like a Helios, Ares kind of
Mhm,
combination. God, one of the characters I was thinking about putting there would be from there. There's an army of undead led by an entity called the Shade, and currently held and used as an avatar as by a I don't know their official name in D&D, but like the snake person called Sifra. Tuanshi,
Yuan-ti.
Yuan-ti.
Yuan-ti. I think it's
Yuan-ti.
Yuan-ti as well, the
Thank
snake
you,
people.
thank you. Yes, it's Yuan-ti. And that's the team.
That's the T, Hunty. You want tea? We got the tea.
Exactly. The T is that basically the snake, like, yeah, they have the different factions. One of them is run by the snake person. There will be all sorts of factions which come into being and then fall out of favor when they get murdered, and constantly a big war going on. This is also related to the war god, which we have created together. Yes, he would be like one of the main ruling forces, the same way that
Okay,
Kellen was under
yes.
the influence of Anacreon,
Yes.
which is another one of our villains who got recently defeated.
To be fair, he was the lowest of the low.
Yeah, but still, it was a god.
It was still a god. Our campaign is very much whack-a-mole with gods.
I would call it a Pokemon game. Gotta catch them all.
But instead of catch, it's gotta kill them all.
Gotta kill them all? No, because they turn into the little crystals when they die. So
You still have to kill them, though.
you still have to catch them.
It's growing on me, I think, the name. Bellaria.
The Bellarian Empire.
The Bellarian Empire.
The Empire of Bellaris.
Bellaris? Comment in the comments. Bellaria, Bellaris, Bellaris, Bluaris.
Belarusi.
which sounds better.
Yeah, I'm gonna put Belarus, of course, but
So,
yeah.
the nation of Bellaria would be warring. It would be just the D&D version of the Hunger Games, but amplified by like 100.
Yeah, and once the new ruler has been established, they lead the country for 100 years. And then the centennial repeats.
Mhm.
And it is not allowed to like question the government or like it's an oppressive kind of thing where
Mhm.
you need to respect that that is the form of government you have for 100 years. And of course, the heads of government will change, but it will be the same faction leading the entire continent.
I see. The entire, it's a whole continent.
Yeah, it's huge, huge, huge.
Wow.
Because there's a bunch of factions which
Mhm.
have their headquarters in different parts.
This is very much giving the arcane tribe of Medarda's mother. What's her name?
Noxus, yes.
Noxus.
It
That's
was
what it's
inspired
giving.
by it.
Okay.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's what it's giving. And I like it.
At the point where the story would begin, it's during a centennial.
Yes, of course.
And Sifra and her faction is really getting ahead, and they have a very, like, they are one of the most unique aspects of the story. The story that I was kind of thinking of, D&D wise, would be focused around Sifra's faction and another one, which I will mention in a bit.
Okay.
So tell me games.
The Centennial Games. So tell me more about this. Sifra?
Sifra.
Sifra. She sounds interesting.
Syfra. Sifra. It comes from Hungarian, actually, from the word cifra, which means like very over detailed, very kind of kitsch, almost in a way.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with her personality. Maybe with she's kind of showy, but I will get to that in a bit.
Well, we do love a showy character. Earlier in our campaign, like earlier last session, we had a whole entrance for his introducing his new character. And the way we decided to do it is the party would visit a theater where a play, like a musical, was going to be presented. For plot reasons, they had to go there. But who shall enter the room and start singing but the new character, him portraying the new character? And so he did. I started the music, and he came in singing. It was honestly very fun. I hope you had fun doing that as well.
I did. It was very unique, and I'm really glad it turned out well, and that the rest of the party enjoyed it as well. So basically, there's a shade, and the shade is an entity which you can imagine as a giant cloud of black mist.
Okay.
Which goes around and comes around, has a consciousness of its own, and it's driven by pure evil.
Love pure evil.
It is, and when it sweeps across a town, it transforms everyone it comes in contact with into different sorts of undead. Vampires, undead.
Overpowered.
It's very overpowered. And basically, those who are transformed join the army in most cases.
Okay. What about the ones who don't join the army? What happens to the regular folks who have no combat experience and are now turned to undead?
Well, those are most of them actually, because they're like normal little towns. Like, okay, there's this warring stuff, but they have actual cities.
Yes.
And it's kind of like a cultural reset every time the centennial happens. People don't have combat training, doesn't matter, because they're kind of part of the hive mind.
Also, once you become an undead in this cloud, you become part of the hive mind?
Yes. And also zombies usually don't have combat experience, they're just their force lies in numbers.
Right.
And people who become like vampires are intelligent, but none of their, or very little of their original personality remains.
I see.
So they're reborn into undead. And yes, it's like a deadly cloud of this transformative toxin, which...
Now that's transformative.
It is.
Let's talk about that.
What is transformative is how an eyelash fell into my eye. Hopefully it's not an eyelash bug.
Eyelash bug.
Exactly. And yeah, so the shade does that. And one of the main characters who I imagined would have an important role is Tian, who is just a sweet young boy who lives in a little village hoping that the centennial will not reach his part of town, and if only he was so lucky. But then one day the cloud appears and takes his entire village. And he is the last man standing. And surprisingly, he isn't turned.
Huh.
And then out of nowhere comes Sifra, who strikes a deal with Tien that he can stay alive for as long as he puts in every living second and every conscious thought into trying to bring Sifra and the Shade down. And so long as he's hell-bent on stopping them, she will keep him alive and the transformation thing will not happen to him.
Why?
Because she's a sick bitch like that and she loves playing games.
She loves playing games. I'm sure she does. I do too. I love games.
Yeah, that's why your face looks as it does.
Very interesting concept, though.
Wait. The story continues.
Oh, excuse me.
We're in the backstory part.
Oh.
And there's another faction which is very important and is the other important one that I mentioned before that I will talk about, is the Church of the Sun Marshal, who harness sun magic and are one of the main opposing forces against the Shade, because they have light and sunlight magic, which obliterates most creatures of the Shade, created by the Shade and members of Sifra's army. And they're like a very secretive group, and they help people a lot. They're really good. They're like paladins, Templars,
of course,
kind of situation. And people really hope that they would be the ones who win.
The Centennial, right?
Yes, but it's kind of
good for
kind of like a Catholic church, kind of vibe where like they are good for certain stuff. They have a huge chokehold on culture in Belarus, and they are very powerful. And corruption may or may not be present. So they're more morally gray, but mostly good. Like in a general sense, they are the ones you would vote for in an election, hopefully. And people are supporting them. It's just that Sifra is one of such a powerful faction.
I see.
I also wanted another faction, which would be like a evil mercantile type of thing.
Like an underground.
And Dahlia escaped from there.
Dahlia, if you're watching this, the Mercantile Association of the trade
garments
of the undergarments is looking for you. Girl, you better hide. Kellen is not big enough for you.
Literally. You're too big for
She's a huge bitch.
Yeah, she
Dahlia is this
muscle mommy,
humongous
Among Us?
Humongous blue tiefling barbarian.
And Tien manages to find them, and even though he's like kind of a measly, let's say 14-year-old boy, they still accept him because he's so hell-bent on stopping the Shade. And he trains to be a sun mage who can summon sunlight, do sun magic. But it just doesn't work. Like, imagine erectile dysfunction, but for sun magic. He tries every method there is, it's not working.
Oh, God.
And it's so weird because he has all the devotion, he has all the dedication, and it's still not coming
He just
through.
doesn't have the magic.
He cannot shoot forward anything, neither from pawn nor any
Can
other.
he shoot backwards though? Like if he does this instead
that
of
would be very
this,
cool, yeah. Like he was
like he could only aim like this at the back. That'd be a very fun little mechanic for something.
You just turn the mini around.
You turn the mini around and you shoot at disadvantage because you cannot see.
It's absolutely horrendous for the character that I came up with, but make sure you make Mr. Backwards and back rolls when you want to.
Back rolls? Honestly, fair.
Alright. And it just doesn't work. And he's like 21 at the point of the story where he picks up again. And he becomes so desperate that he wants to meet with Sifra. And through the bond of their oath, that as long as he is searching to kill her, he can stay alive. He somehow manages to contact her and they have a meeting.
Okay.
And
she talked to HR.
Yes, and he says to Sifra, you know what? I do not see how we could defeat you. I personally cannot. I do not want to die a simple death, so I want to join your faction. Make me into an undead. And Sifra does it.
Okay.
And he turns into a vampire.
Mm.
aka Tian turns into a vampire. But what are vampires?
They are sparkly.
No.
No. They are bloodsuckers.
Starts with U.
They are UV susceptible.
They are, but that's not the point.
They are undead.
Yes.
Yes.
How did the contract go? Is that as long as he is dead? What Tian did not know is that the contract had like a little mumbled part of it, which stated that he would be unable to, like, his magic was suppressed as long as this contradictory, weird contract was in place. But as soon as it was lifted, because he became an undead, he's no longer alive,
Mm-hmm.
all of this energy that was pent up in him, this sun energy, bursts out of him right in front of Sifra and shoots straight to her.
This is not even a world building shtick anymore. This is a full blown story. You can buy this on Amazon when it gets released.
Yeah, so imagine this very powerful general, expected empress of the Balarian Empire blasted through. She's also a vampire too.
I was.
Sifra.
Was.
She's not dead yet. Because the shade is like, oh hell no, I'm not gonna lose my chance.
Ah, hell nah.
Exactly, that's how the shade talks. Oh hell no, girl. And the shade is like, no, I'm not gonna lose my best soldier over here. And so, using his powers, unites the two of them. Because two
Ooh.
dead undead create one undead. And
One
thus-
live undead?
Yes, still moving and breathing, I guess. Are they breathing? I don't know. And thus, Tisfrian is born, who is a non-binary, half Yuan-Ti, half a human vampire who has
Okay.
sun magic.
Very interesting concept. Wow.
Yes. Oh, and they make a new contract, which then keeps them together, made with the Shade this time.
Mhm.
That one of them will have to win eventually. Like they have a united personality, but they also have, their separate parts.
Mhm.
And that's really destructive to them. So eventually someone will have to take over and stay alive while the other fully dies. And the Shade says that if Tisfrian does one good deed, then Tien will win. And if a horrible, atrocious crime is committed and Tisfrian does something horrible, then Sifra will be the victorious one. And the other personality will be completely erased and dead.
Mhm. Thank you for this wonderful introduction into the country, the continent of Bellaria. It was very fun.
I'm glad you liked it.
All right, everything is painted now. Everything is finished. The final coats of paint are put on. Of course, they still need a sealant, but that's tomorrow's problem. And I'm very glad with how we managed to paint them, honestly. I'm very impressed by how the toy dino turned out.
It's crazy good.
It's absolutely insane. The little transformation is not so little.
No, absolutely not. It looks very professional and I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
It's very nice. I can't wait to...
Get chased by it in game.
Oh, yeah, that'll be fun.
How did you find the paints? Did you like them?
Yes.
Mm.
I really love looking at these little mice. It's kind of hard to believe that we painted them.
Right? Some of them look really good.
Some of them.
All
yours?
of them.
You mean yours?
No, like this one looks really good. This one looks good. This one's my favorite.
Oh yeah, he has the one who lost his eye.
It was a happy accident. The eye got kind of messed up, and so he now has a milky eye with a little, scar going through it.
Yeah, it's very nice. He has a lot of personality.
Anyway, let's take a closer look at what we've done. And that was it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video today and you found it interesting, funny, something to put on in the background while you eat. I don't know, whatever you do with these videos. We certainly had fun
We did.
and hope to see you in the next one.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.